Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. You guys, today I'm covering 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Episode 4, Love is a Battlefield. And the reason I say it like that is because this is the best, most crazy episode so far. And I probably say that every week, but holy crap, this episode is wild. Let's get into it. I can't wait to talk about this one. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives in New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. It is just one wild thing after another this episode. So we got Rebecca and Zied. So she has been in Tunisia for 2 days. And they met on Facebook. So far it's been amazing because all they've done is bone. She is going to meet his friends. Now remember, he didn't arrange a car. So she had to rent the car for the 3 weeks she's there. She has to drive the car because his license doesn't allow him to do that. And yeah, so it's a lot of pressure. She's going to meet his friends. They hope it goes well. So she's going to go watch them have a soccer game or a football game or whatever it's called over there. Saying she has so much to learn about him and she's there for a few weeks. She really hopes to leave engaged. So we see Zied play soccer and she's nervous that they'll think she's too old and they won't accept her. She says, "Do you want to introduce me to your friends?" And he's like, oh yeah. So it's awkward because she's just kind of standing there watching him play with his friends. You know, they're speaking their language, which she doesn't speak. And she's just standing there in silence. So the group gathers around to really talk to her some more. And what's funny here is it comes up every episode. Apparently, she has sent pictures of herself that were all very filtered, as we saw. So the friends are saying, yeah, she doesn't look like that. She looks much older in person. They end up asking her her age. And she says she's 47. And his friends start giggling. And it's just very uncomfortable. She's covered in tattoos. It's just not common in Tunisia, especially, he says the women there just don't do that. They ask her how much the tattoos cost. She says, I don't know, one arm is probably about $3,000. So they think she's rich, and they say she will take care of him. And then one of them says, I wish I could meet an American woman. So she's just struggling with this age gap, and she feels uncomfortable, and she wants to learn more about him, doesn't know how this is going to work out. So then we go over to Timothy. Remember, Timothy lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's headed to meet Jennifer, who lives in Colombia. He's nervous. He wants to win her over. He says he wants to spend forever with her. They've known each other for about 8 months. They've talked online, and then they're finally meeting. He really wants to propose to her. So then we see the 24 hours earlier. So Jennifer is 25. She's Colombian and she is gorgeous. She's doing these exercises. She calls herself a princess warrior. And she's very athletic. She looks great. She's fantastic. She says she's exercises every day. So she grew up boxing. She's independent and strong. And she's done modeling since she was a kid. She says any man I choose should feel lucky. She went on an international dating site and she found Tim. Okay, so here's red flag on both of their parts. So when she met Tim online, he starts telling her about his Ferrari. So she's very intrigued by that. That comes up again. She said she likes hard workers. She feels attraction and loves that he's a family man because she's a mom. Her daughter is 1.5 years old. She said she was married once to a terrible husband. She hopes Tim will be better. And he'll be a father figure for her daughter. So she meets up with her friends here, and they want to know if he has good intentions. Then they ask to see pictures of Tim, and she pulls out pictures. Yeah, it's the one with the Ferrari. So again, she's liking to show off this Ferrari. And they go through his pictures, and she keeps bringing up that pictures of his ex are on his page. She does not like that at all. Here's the ex. They're saying they look alike. But she's saying that's not good. That's not going to work. I need the ex to be gone. So she thinks he has secrets. They're going to see each other tomorrow. The friends are worried, saying that he should respect her more, and says if he won't respect her, she'll say no thank you, goodbye, Tim. Then we go over to Benjamin in Phoenix. Benjamin is 33 years old. He's leaving for Africa to meet Akini. So they're going to meet up in Kenya. Now he's got this 5-year-old named Grayson, and he said he's never been away from him, so this is going to be really tough. Akini doesn't have any kids, so Benjamin's saying if she is not nice to Grayson, that's going to be a deal breaker. His brother and sister are going to pick him up and take him to the airport. He's getting very nervous. Akini is going to meet him at the airport when he arrives. The plan is for them to spend a few days together, and then they're going to go meet her family. In her culture, that means she's ready to get married. So, also in her culture, there's this thing called a bride price. It keeps coming up. And he doesn't know how much it's going to be, and they won't tell him, and he doesn't really want to ask. So, you can see him kind of freaking out. The nerves are hitting him while he's in the airport. He says so much is on the line, so much put into this. He's crying and saying it's just hitting him. Okay, so on this episode, there are 2 stories I'm dying to talk about, and this is one of them, Darcy and Tom. So again, I have never watched any 90 Day Fiancé. This is all new for me. I'm aware that she's been on another season, didn't watch it, haven't watched anything since. Okay. She fascinates me in a weird way. I don't understand her. I don't understand the makeup. I don't understand the extensions. None of it. I don't get it. But I think it's really crazy fun to watch and uncomfortable all at the same time. So they have talked for 4 years, her and Tom. And he was a shoulder for her when she and Jesse broke up, right? So they had dinner, and he's like, oh yeah, I got us an Airbnb. You're going to have your room, and I'm going to have my room. Okay, red flags. Maybe not. Maybe that makes sense if you're meeting a stranger in another country, but she was really pissed about it. So they're going to the Airbnb, and it's actually really nice. It's right in London. He said his apartment's not in London. He doesn't really want to take her there, so they got an Airbnb in London. And he says this is his way of showing that he appreciates her and the effort she'd made to fly over there. So they're hanging out at the house, right? She calls him debonair, and he says she's funny, she's attractive, she's beautiful. Okay. This is where things get real weird. She's crying. She starts crying, and she cannot stop crying. And she says she needs to be on her own. She needs to know her own worth, and she just doesn't want to feel chipped away at. And he starts making faces like this, where he's like, oh God, what have I done? Again, she's bringing up this Jesse guy. She can't stop talking about him. She's saying that Tom helped her realize what she doesn't want, and he helped her heal. To camera, she says she's very emotional, and, oh no, okay, this is the greatest. So she's crying her face off, and to camera, Tim says, she's very emotional. I don't find that attractive. It's supposed to be our first date. It's supposed to be fun. So it's just been, this is the theme of their relationship, 2 different pages. He thought it was this new, casual, fun relationship. Let's see where this goes. She thinks he's going to propose. She's like sharing all these deep emotional feelings with him, and he's like, what the heck is going on? This is our first date. I don't understand. I don't like it. So this is one of about 10 uncomfortable moments. So she's crying her face off. He doesn't know what to do with it. I love that he said he was not attracted to this. I just find that very funny. So to continue on the awkward theme, they have separate rooms. So she's not understanding this. He's kind of set on it. He walks her up to what would be her room. And she takes a look. She's like, I don't like it. She says it feels cold. And she's mad that he got the master. So he takes her up to show his room, and she's like, oh, yeah, okay. I like this one so much better. And she just flops on his bed, and she's like, yeah, I'm more comfortable here. And she starts crying again, and he's clearly uncomfortable. And and he's just like, oh, for the love of God, I'll just stay with you. He says, fine, you can stay here with me. It's okay. Don't cry. And says he feels like he's babysitting a little one. Oh my God, I was laughing. Let me try that again. He says he was babysitting a little one. So that's not what you want. And says if it continues like this, it won't be a romantic getaway that he thought it would be. And believe me, I'm taking his side here because it's funny. He seems like a real wanker. Like, he really does. He just not my cup of tea. He's very full of himself. It's very awkward. So she's drunk off her face. She's wearing this bodysuit to camera. He's in his full-on PJs, and he's like, oh, God, I guess I gotta sleep in the same bed with her. So that's probably not what you want. That's not a good way to start things off. Then we go over to Omar and Avery. Okay, so this is the other couple that I really want to discuss because tonight's episode, it was a doozy. Okay. So just a refresh. She lives in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. She met Omar online because she converted to Islam and she found him on a Muslim dating app. So their plan is, they've been talking for 6 months. She brought her mom with her. They met up in Lebanon because he lives in Syria and it's not safe there. So they met in Lebanon. And they're getting married in 2 days. So they decide to go wedding dress shopping. And this is where the awkwardness starts and continues throughout the episode. Because mom has, she has these opinions. It's her daughter. She wants to see her try on these wedding dresses. She's surprised that he wants to go with them and see these dresses and stuff. And the daughter, Avery, is picking out these dresses, right? And he is not happy at all. He doesn't like that she's picking these dresses that can be, it's not, in his culture, he's saying that he doesn't think that anything should show the body. That's just not what they do. So he's saying she's not a good Muslim girl for picking that, and it shouldn't be tight. And she's just letting him pick. She's like, okay. So she switches dresses. She tries on. They finally agree on one that's not so form-fitting, and mom is just getting more and more pissed because she's like, this is not how Avery used to act. She was the most independent, ambitious woman, and now all of a sudden she's watching her have somebody tell her what to wear, and it's just an odd feeling. She's afraid Avery will get tired of listening to what someone else tells her, and it's going to fall apart. So a lot of tension building here, leading up to some weird moments later, which we'll get into. So then let's go over to Caesar. Okay, so Caesar lives in North Carolina. He's going tomorrow to fly to Mexico to meet up with his Ukrainian girlfriend of Maria. He met her 5 years ago on a dating website, and one day before the last trip he was supposed to take, she postponed. So this is 2 weeks later from the last episode. It's kind of jarring because I'm like, why is he packing again? And he explains, yep, I packed once, but I had to unpack because she moved it by 2 weeks. I don't understand how, because he ended up buying her tickets. I don't understand how they can just change it like that. And I guess it's production. Who knows? Okay. So he says he's been working nonstop and only eating things like noodles to save money. He already sends her $800 a month, and then he sent her $2,000 for this ticket, which he ended up buying her a ticket in addition to that. It's so crazy. So the flight is tomorrow, and, well, now it's today. And he hasn't heard from her. He's been texting her. She won't text him back. No response. Producer's like, what's up with that? And he says, it's okay. He's still excited. And producer says, where does that come from? And he says, I have hope. he watches videos that she sent. She calls him baby. She doesn't even call him by his name because she's doing this to a lot of different guys. So he's about to leave. He still has not heard from Maria. And he says he hopes that she goes. And he believes that she loves him and that she'll be there. It's too painful to think of her not showing up. So this is just the wildest, belief that somebody's going to show up that I've never seen before. So then we go over to Benjamin. Benjamin's on the plane to Kenya to meet up with Akini. He's excited to meet her. He thinks that she could be the one. He's talking about that and just how this works. So, it's a big deal to meet her family. It's not done unless they're planning to get married. So he hopes he can propose and it'll all work out. Then we see the 24 hours earlier. So we go over to Kenya and we see Akini. And she is 26 years old. She explains that her first name isn't even Akini. It's just that Ben can only pronounce that. So that's why he calls her that. She lives with her parents, her brothers, and her sisters, and she said she's never had a conversation with a white person. She said she liked him because he was respectful. He never sent any nudes. That's a very low bar. She explains that she assumes that white people have money, and she's explained that her father is a hard-to-please man. That he thinks that white people are a problem. So this is going to be real interesting when they meet. She says Fidel, I think I'm saying that right, her brother is very overprotective. And the thing is, in Kenya, the brother needs to be friends with the guy you intend to marry. So that way he can go to the father and talk to him about it. And if the brother and father don't approve, she can't be with him. So then we see her with this friend here, and the friend is saying she stalked him on Facebook. She found out about his son that way. Akini is saying it'll be easier to be a friend to the child rather than be a mom. She's nervous about being the stepmom thing. So many red flags right off the bat. She's not sure about this. I mean, he's already said if she can't be a stepmom, it's not going to work. So I don't understand how any of this is going to go down. Then we go over to this very uncomfortable situation. So it's Rebecca and Zied. So she's doing her hair. She's helping him with his hair, and they're getting ready. It's been overwhelming with the travel and meeting friends, so they decide they just want to go out, have a nice time, get some drinks, go dancing. Okay, sounds fun. Except for that's not what happens. It ends up being the night from absolute you-know-where. She's getting dressed, right? She picks out this black shirt, and he says, no, nope, too sexy. And she's like, no, I'm wearing this. And he's like, no, you have to show it to me. So she goes to change into it and show him what it looks like. She comes out, and he says, nope, it's too sexy. And says women in Tunisia are more conservative. The attention worries him. And he says, nope, this is no good. And she's getting nervous because she's starting to see a controlling side that she doesn't like. So remember, she had an ex. She won't go into all the details, but she basically said that he's very controlling. And he even made her stop wearing makeup. Just all these rules that she didn't like. She said she left him. She'll leave this guy too. She's like, well, tough. I'm going to wear this. And he gets pissed. It does not go very well. So he's saying, no, I will not go out with you like this. And she's like, well, I'm going to wear it. And they compromise that she'll wear her jacket over it. And he's saying, this makes me so angry. She says, I love you. I don't want to fight. So this is hard. I don't know if he is being controlling. Maybe this is the way that they live over there and she should respect it. Or maybe he is trying to control her. I don't know. But I think you should figure this shit out before you even talk about getting married. That's ridiculous. She's saying, I don't know if this is just going to be a Tunisia thing, or what if we go to America and he's like this? I won't be able to live like this. And I'm just like, girl, you're talking about marrying this guy and you don't know if you're allowed to wear certain things around him? There's a problem. So then we go back to Tim. Tim's the guy from Charlotte flying out to Colombia to meet Jennifer. So he's flown 10 hours. He's carried this huge teddy bear for her daughter. He's getting very nervous. He's stressing out that she won't like what she sees. And we see her getting excited to go meet him at the airport. She's got that little girl with her. So he gets his stuff and he says he just can't wait to see her. They finally see each other after all this time, and it goes well. At first, they hug, I think they kiss. No, he says he's going to be a gentleman, so they don't kiss right then, but they hug. He's very sweet with the little girl. He's been around his little girl, not biological little girl, but his ex's little girl. And so he's good with kids. So he's trying to charm the little girl. It's working. He brought her this huge bear. It's very cute to see this little girl with this huge teddy bear. The baby's happy. She's saying it's melting her heart. So they end up getting a taxi. And Jennifer is saying she's very happy, but that they need to have a talk about his ex, Veronica, and the relationship. So I want to remind you, he was with Veronica for like 8 years, and she had a tiny baby when they first got together, and he's basically helped raise this little girl, so she calls him daddy. And he calls them his family. He said there's nothing more romantic, but it's his family. Well, Jennifer is furious about this, doesn't like this at all, wants it to end. So she's saying he needs to understand, or it's not going to work. Okay, so let's go back to Darcy and Tom. They're in London. It's the next day after she arrived, right? She says the first date was electric. And, oh my God. Then she says they cuddled up and they fell asleep. Okay. Well, she wakes up. I think she was drunk out of her mind. She was crying. He was saying, I'm not attracted to that, but she thinks it's been a wonderful night. So, again, different pages for these two. Well, he's like, do you know what happened? She's like, no, what happened? She ended up clocking him in the middle of the night. I don't know if it was with her head or her hand or what, by accident. And he says he got a bloody nose. He bled everywhere, all over the sheets, on everything. He couldn't get it to stop. And he's saying she had too many drinks. So it's just so... Oh my gosh, everything is going wrong, and she's clueless, and she thinks it's going great. So he's booked a boat ride on the Thames today, and they have an hour to get ready. So that's not going to work for Darcy because she takes 13 hours to put on 14 layers of makeup. She gets ready, they go down the stairs, they get on this boat. So to Cameron, she's talking about how great last night went. To Cameron, he's saying Darcy is a very emotional person. She's hard to deal with, but it's a fresh day. Let's see how it goes. So he's trying to say, listen, today's about this trip. Let's have a wonderful time. It's beautiful. And she's saying London feels posh. She loves it. She feels like she could move there. Again, totally different pages for everything. She says, I love you. He doesn't say it back. She starts to get teary-eyed. And he's like, no more of that, because he's had enough tears from her. Again, she's saying she loves London. Then she starts making it real awkward and says she wants to know where they stand. And he says, well, are you trying to ask me if we're exclusive? And he says, we've had 2 dates. So Darcy wants to know if he's seeing anybody else. And he's saying, well, I canceled things to see how we are. And Darcy says, so is there one woman? Are there women? And he says, women. She's like, really? Isn't this something you would have discussed before? She's disappointed because she felt like they were much closer and on the way to proposal, and he thinks it's like their second date. So something you might want to figure out beforehand. So Tom's just saying, listen, I'll see where this goes, see if it's long term. So again, I know no spoilers about this. I don't know anything about it, but I'm just telling you, like, I see, it's just, I'd be surprised if they make it through this whole trip, honestly, because she can't stop crying, and she thinks that they're basically engaged, and he's like, who is this stranger that I'm spending my time with? And he's pretty egotistical, too, so I just don't think that it's going to go well for either one of them. So then we go back to Ben from Phoenix. Ben is in Nairobi. It's taken him 24 hours to fly there. He's nervous, he's anxious, he doesn't know how it's going to go, and he just wants to see Akini. And and there's kind of switching between them. They're showing her as well, and she's saying she's never been to the airport before. And so he ends up arriving, and they seem like they actually have some chemistry. They hug, they kiss, they're kind of into each other. And they both comment that the chemistry is there. She says she's happy that he's taller than she is. And then she says she's worried it's going to be hard for him to be accepted. He's super tired, but he says that that she's making him feel special. And okay, so then it ends with something she hasn't told him yet, but she's afraid he will be mad. So we don't know what that's going to be. I'm very interested to see what that's about. Okay, so this is the other part of just craziness going on. We're back to Omar and Avery, right? And they've just met for the first time in person, just like 2 days ago. They're about to get married. They go out to dinner. They go out with her mom. And when they're at dinner, you can see a whole bunch of awkwardness going on. Mom is wanting to celebrate their engagement, their wedding, all that, and buying the dress. And she says, maybe we should get some drinks. Well, Omar protests, is not into this. Mom orders alcohol anyway, and Avery's like, no, Muslim women can't drink. And he's saying it's harmful. Well, she orders one anyway, so everybody gives her the side eye. Then Mom brings up that she was looking online, and she said she was looking up Muslim wife because she had some questions. And Omar is not into this at all. He doesn't want to talk about this. Well, Mom starts reading things like if they're guilty, if a Muslim wife is guilty of lewdness, you can hit them, but not severely. So she's reading this to him, and Avery kind of laughing about it, saying, you better not hit me. And he's like, no, that's not how it works for everybody. It's not. He's trying to explain the difference, and Mom to camera is saying, no, that there's this handbook. And then she points out that he's allowed to take more than one wife. Avery didn't know this. Avery says, no, he'll have one wife, right? And he kind of laughs, and she's like, no, really, you're just going to do one wife? Again, things that you might want to discuss before you're getting married. Avery to camera says her mom's bringing up stuff to make me feel like I'm in the wrong religion. Again, it goes back, and Omar saying that he won't hit her. And they're all laughing about it, and it's so uncomfortable and god-awful. I mean, it's awful. Mom is saying, if you ever hit her with a stick, I'll hit you with a stick. And Omar to camera says that her mom does not respect his culture at all. Oh my gosh. Again, conversations you probably don't want to have on camera that you want to have before your wedding. And, just so much going on here. It's so uncomfortable. And that they're laughing it all off. It's just a train wreck. So we go to Cancun to see Caesar. He's just arrived. He's landed in Mexico. He's supposed to be meeting Maria. So excited. Okay. So then he has no luggage. So he freaks out because his engagement ring is in there. Why wouldn't you pack that on your carry-on? He says he feels terrible. He doesn't know what to do. So he's sent around the airport. He ends up having to go to leave for his hotel, hoping that he'll get his luggage tomorrow. He's leaving her messages that he's there and that he loves her. And he's starting to wonder why she can't send him a message. If she doesn't make her flight, I don't know how I'll recover after that. He checks into his hotel room. He gets settled. Producer's asking, has she texted you? Nope. Supposed to get on the flight in 12 hours. Says that this has happened through the years. They've been talking for 5 years. And sometimes this happens. And he believes in their love, and he believes in Maria. Oh, Caesar. So back to Tim and Jennifer. From one awkward situation to another. So they're in Colombia. They've been talking for 8 months. So he rented an apartment to stay at while he's there. Jennifer and Violet live with her grandparents. So he's got this apartment. He's super nervous, and there was friction between them before he left for this trip. It's all over his ex. And she's saying that she's... So he's starting to get nervous because he's saying she's out of his league. Well, she's starting to sense his hesitation and saying, Tim's looking awkward and afraid of me. She says she's excited. And they start talking about meeting her family. He tells her that Veronica called him to check on him. Well, this sets off World War I. She's not happy about it. And she says, I made things clear to you, right? And then she finds out that Veronica took him to the airport. And to the camera, she says, his ex texts him all the time. I'm not going to stand for that. Who is she, his mom or his wife? Well, this sucks because he doesn't seem to have other family, or he acts like he doesn't. So it's just her and the kid. So, such a weird situation. And they're like 1 day in, and they're already having these insane jealousy problems. They better work this out if it's gonna work out. So she's saying, I already told you I was bothered by this. Tim says if Jennifer can't learn not to be jealous and trust what I tell her, it's not going to work. He tells her, don't be mad, and she tells him to shut up. He says he's nervous that he has a secret from his past he needs to talk to her about, but he's afraid it will break them up. I have no idea what the secret is going to be. What the heck is happening? I don't know anything about. I have no idea what that could be, and I'm sure. She already has a temper, so let's see what the heck's going to happen there. So we're back to Rebecca and Zied, and again, what was supposed to be a fun night where they go out dancing and drinking. And it's just turned into a nightmare because he's mad about what she's wearing. She's mad because he's telling her what to wear. It's an awful situation. They probably should have just stayed at the hotel, but they decide to go out anyway for whatever awful reason. Not having any fun. She's telling him to please don't be mad, and he literally says whatever. So that's not good. She's saying, I just want to have fun tonight. And he's saying, people in Tunisia look at you different if you dress like that. They're arguing over the shirt still, and he's saying, there, it means you're not a good woman. And she's saying she's seeing these red flags. Again, her ex used to do this to her. He used to control her. She said she won't deal with that again, although she seems to be dealing with that again. So she's asking him, are you going to tell me what to wear when we go to America? And he's like, no, it's no problem there. He says, but it's not America here. So, I get that point. It's just, you don't know. Is he going to be like that everywhere? Is this his personality? Is he truly trying to protect her and teach her about his culture? I don't know. So she says that she doesn't like seeing this side of Zied. And she's trying to take the love feelings out of it. So she takes off her jacket and says this is her character. She's sick of being told what to do. He flips out and says, no. And she said, what, I'm a bad person because of the jacket? He says the tattoos are attracting tension and it's making him angry. And he's becoming very uncomfortable. And he said this isn't what they do in Tunisia. So this guy right here sits down next to her and he starts staring at her. He's staring at the tattoos. Well, Zied tells him to stop looking at her. And they're escalating and it looks like it's going to come to blows. It's so uncomfortable and it's awkward and he's getting more and more angry and she doesn't speak the language. She doesn't know what to do. And Rebecca says she hasn't seen him. She hasn't seen this side of him. She's afraid he's going to hit this guy. And that is how the episode ends. Oh my gosh, you guys. Stands up and he is about to fight this guy, and that's how the episode ends. I cannot wait to see what the heck happens next episode. Can't imagine this is going to help things between them. It was already starting to get awkward, and this was a really rough night for them. So Very curious. We didn't see Angela at all this episode. Speaking of awkward. But, wow, you guys, I'm loving this show. I love talking about it. I hope you guys are enjoying watching these. They're so much fun to recap, so much to unpack. They're such a crazy show. But thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out my other videos. I'm covering all kinds of different shows. If you want to support this, check out Patreon. I am doing $1 a week, $4 a month, 4 bonus episodes, all of, right now, Real Housewives of New York. I'm covering the greatest season where they went to Scary Island. Awesome. And I appreciate everything. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.